and I have to say how blessed I am by our young people that we saw here today. And it takes a lot of time and effort for the people who are involved in those Sabbath school classes to be involved, to inspire young people, to work with young people. I mean, especially small young people. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of energy, and I just want to say thank you to each one of you who are involved in that ministry, that part of our church. It really makes for a healthy, well-rounded experience for our church that you are willing to do that, and I can't express enough gratitude for the fact that you're willing to do that. So thank you. So it's the first Sabbath of the year seems like a lot of pressure Sabbath to me a little bit, right? Like you're supposed to be setting the tone for the whole year and, this great inspirational thing. And I'm thinking to myself, I really feel like the pastor should, be here kind of, setting this big tone. But, I will do my best for you today. As you know, my brother and I have a competition going to see who can do the shortest sermon. And like an amateur last week, he went like 22 minutes, which is like ridiculous. Right? So I will do my best to, to try to set the tone for the year with timely sermons for all of you. So I will do my best to do that also. I also have to say, you'll notice that the Hamstra corner is a little light this morning. We've been lucky enough to start this new year off with the flu, and so it's going through the Hamstra clan a little bit. Thankfully, Kira, myself, and Owen have stayed it off, but again, that Chris Hamstra family is rather weak, you can see, and they are not in attendance today because the flu is kind of wreaking havoc on them. So please, keep them in your thoughts and prayers. As I've been thinking about 2019, I've been thinking it's going to be a year full of opportunities, right? Some of you may know, Corey started a new job very recently, so she's really, forging a kind of a new career throughout 2019. As Joe mentioned, as part of the 13th Sabbath presentation, the Oakwood Academic Center is up and running and is a new venture that, is in its first year of existence. And, we're very, very excited about this church being involved in that and supporting that. And I think as you think about the new year, you often think about, of course, New Year's resolutions, right? I mean, it's that time of year, right? It's the time for making New Year's resolutions. Hey, raise your hand if you made a New Year's resolution this year. Raise your hand. Wow. So raise your hand if you did not make a New Year's resolution this year. You did not make a New Year's resolution. Wow, that is impressive. I took a little bit of time to think about New Year's resolutions and do a little bit of research around New Year's resolutions. You know that 45% of Americans, which is not represented here very well, by the way, 45% of Americans do make New Year's resolutions every year. About 45% of us. And of those people, 22% of those people will fail in their resolution within the very first week. So if some of you didn't make a resolution, 22% of you, you're about out of time. It's about over for you, but as the week draws to a close, right? After 1 month of that group that made resolutions, 40% of those people after 1 month will have failed in their resolution. After 3 months, 50% of people will have failed in their resolution, and after 6 months, 60% of people have actually failed in their New Year's resolutions, which is why many of you are just maybe you're pragmatists, right? You're like, hey, it's not going to work out anyway. Why would I even make a New Year's resolution to start, right? Actually, of individuals who achieve their resolutions, of those who make it, 40% of those people are first-timers. They resolve to do it for the very first time, and if they do make it, 40% of those people actually make their resolution the first time. 17% of people take 6 or more times to actually follow through on their New Year's resolution. And as I researched resolutions a little bit, I found that the very first people who were into New Year's resolutions were the ancient Babylonians. The ancient Babylonians actually, made New Year's resolutions. So maybe it's, involved in that, that evil Babylonian empire. Maybe that's why, all of you don't want to make resolutions. But I did do a little bit of research on New Year's resolutions and what is the most popular New Year's resolutions. Can I yell out, what do you think is a very popular New Year's resolution? So weight loss, right? That's right up there. Actually, 37% of people who make a New Year's resolution make it about weight loss. Very good. Anything else? Eat healthy. That very good. That's another 37% tend to want to eat healthy. Very good. Anything else? Save money. Yes, actually, another 37% of people who make a resolution do it around saving money. Anything else? Let me just run off a couple more. Some are to focus on self-care, like getting more sleep, that kind of thing. 24% of people who make a resolution do it about that. 18% of people about reading more. 15% of people want to make new friends as part of their New Year's resolution. 15% of people want to learn a new skill. 14% are looking for a new job as part of their New Year's resolution. 13% are going to look to take up a new hobby. And according to the statistics that I looked up, 32% of people don't make any kind of New Year's resolution at all, right? Right around in that ballpark. So again, there's a lot of people in here that either you're fibbing or these statistics aren't very good. But this is what New Year's resolutions seem to be about. And as I was looking for these different kind of facts about New Year's resolutions, accompanying almost every single list of these are the things that people make New Year's resolutions about were these tips for seeing your New Year's resolution through, right? What are the things that you need to do that you should be working on in order to make sure that if you do resolve to do something in the new year, you see it through all the way to its end. And some tips for success were this. Number one, you have to be mentally prepared for the challenge. So this is my big excuse around my weight loss resolution everywhere. I always tell my wife, I'm just not there mentally. I'm not in a place in my mind where I feel like I can lose this weight. I'm just not prepared mentally, right? So you need to prepare for this mentally. Tip number 2, you need to limit resolutions to very manageable amounts, right? Don't make this big, glorious kind of thing, right? So I shouldn't be saying, hey, I'm going to lose 70 pounds as my New Year's resolution. That is not going to happen, right? So why would I ever try to make that as my New Year's resolution? Tip number 3, you need to be very specific about your resolution and make it something actionable, right? Something that is doable, right? So that you can actually do it, right? So it shouldn't just be vague like I want to lose weight. It should be, I'm going to eat less carbs, right? Something much more specific, something that's actionable. Tip number 4 for seeing your resolution through, you need to write it down. They say that writing down your resolution in some way, shape, or form helps you see your resolution through. And tip number 5, you need to share your resolution with other people, right? I guess this is like the accountability part of the resolution, right? Share it with other people so that other people can see or know what you're trying to resolve to do, right? So as I was sitting back reflecting on the fact that, hey, most of these resolutions fail, why is it that these resolutions fail? And as I was looking at the list of common resolutions, one kind of, I'm going to call it a common theme, started to come to my mind. And that theme is the reason that Jason Hamstra believes that New Year's resolutions are more likely to be failures than successes is that the New Year's resolution is based in selfishness. Right? It's about, all your New Year's resolutions are about you, right? I want to lose weight. I want to exercise more so I have a better looking body, right? I want to read more so I'm smarter. I want to save more money so I have more money, right? And more prestige. Typically resolutions are about yourself. And this potentially has the danger of being founded in the sin of selfishness and pride. So all of you are probably thinking, hey, that's great, right? I mean, you didn't raise your hand when I asked about New Year's resolution, right? You're thinking, yeah, I am not in the selfishness trap. I am not going to get in this trap of making a resolution that is about selfishness and pride. Now, to you, though, I would say, that potentially you're falling into the trap of laziness and indifference. So you're probably thinking to yourself now, okay, Jay, I make a resolution, I'm selfish. I don't make a resolution, I'm lazy. What do you want? What do you want from us? What do you want us to do here? Well, my suggestion to you this morning is that you look at resolution that is founded on something else. And to do that, let's open our Bibles to Matthew, please. Matthew 25, verses 31 through 40. Very common text. I think most of you know it. Matthew 25, verses 31 through 40. And it says there, "But when the Son of Man comes in his glory and the angels with him, then he will sit on his glorious throne. All the nations will gather before him, and he will separate them one from another as the shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. Then the king will say to those on his right, 'Come, you are blessed of my Father. Inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. Naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me.' Then the righteous, who seem very surprised, will answer him and say, 'Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? And when did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or naked and clothe you? And when did we see you sick or in prison and come to you?' And the king will answer them and say, 'Truly I say to you, to the extent that you did this to one of these brothers of mine, even the least of them, you did it unto me.'" The suggestion I'm making to you this morning is that you think about making a resolution not based upon a foundation of selfishness, but based upon the foundation of service. You know, Joe must have known what I was talking about this morning because he talked about the opportunity that the teachers of those Sabbath school classes are taking to serve other people. He talked about the mission of the Oakwood Academic Center to build leaders who are going to learn how to serve not only their church, but the world. Service doesn't have to be this massive, big, glorious thing. Service can be simple, and service can impact even a single individual. I propose to you this morning that your New Year's resolution be founded on the divine calling of service in others, not of yourself, and that if you do so, you are more likely to have a successful resolution. So let's think back now to those tips that we talked about in seeing that your resolution can come to success, can be fruitful. The first one that we talked about was that you need to be mentally prepared. I want to expand that a little bit and say that you need to be spiritually prepared. And how do you become spiritually prepared? Through a prayer life, through a personal devotional life, through Bible study, through family devotion, through attendance at church. This will help you become spiritually prepared to handle the resolution of service of others. Number 2, you need to limit resolutions to manageable amounts. As I said before, service doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to be ginormous. It can be to one person. It can be to one family. It can be to one group of people. You need to choose an amount that you are equipped to handle with the time, the resources, potentially even the money that you have. The third tip to be successful in your New Year's resolution of service is to be specific, measurable, and actionable. You can't just say for your New Year's resolution, I resolve this year to serve others. You need to be more specific, more measurable, and more actionable. You need to answer these questions. And I'm going to give you a little bit of time after each one to answer it for yourself. Who are you going to serve? Who is the specific individual, family, group of people that you are going to go out and serve? How are you going to serve that person, family, or group of people? What specific actions are you going to take? What specific things are you going to do to serve others? Question number 3, how often? How often are you going to engage in that service? Daily, weekly, monthly? And finally, what do you hope will result from your service? So again, just to review those quickly, to get you thinking about those quickly, because you know where this is going. You remember those other tips that I listed. Number one is, who are you going to serve? How are you going to serve? The specific actions that you're going to take. How often are you going to engage in that service? And what do you hope the result will be of that service? So tip number 4 is where the rubber meets the road. Write down your resolution. So I know all of you sitting here, some of us have different ways of doing this, right? How many of you have a cell phone with you today? Right? If you have a cell phone with you today, if it's not a flip phone from the ancient past, right? If you have a cell phone today, it probably has an app on it called Notes, right? So get your cell phone out. I know this is going to be one of the rare times during a service, during a sermon, that I'm going to tell you to get your cell phone out. If you have a cell phone, get your cell phone out. I got all the time in the world. My sermon is really short, so I can wait for you. If you don't have a cell phone, get your piece of paper out, get your pen out, if that's your way, right? If you're a planner person, right, and you brought your planner today, get your planner out. But I want to see your cell phone. I want to see your piece of paper. Hold it up in the air so I know everybody has it, and then we'll be ready to move on. I got time. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, I want you to start a new note. If you're a cell phone person or on your piece of paper, I want you to start a new note. I want you to entitle it My Service Resolution. My Service Resolution. And here I want you to write down what your resolution is going to be. It has to contain these things: the person, family, or group of people that you're going to serve, what your service activity will be, what you will be doing, the specific thing that you will be doing, and what you hope is going to result from this service for them. Not for you, for them. So on your phone, in your note, on your piece of paper, my service resolution. You're going to write down the person, people, family, group of people that you're looking to serve, what your very specific service opportunity is going to be, and what you hope will result from that service. I'm going to give you a couple minutes. I see people intently doing that, so I'm going to give the wait time necessary. Again, the person that you are going to serve, person, family, group of people that you look to serve, what your service activity will be. I'm going to do this for this person. I'm going to serve this person, these people in this way, and what you hope will result for that person, people, from that service that you do. That was tip number 4. Tip number 5 is share your resolution with someone else. So you already have your phone out. You can either send a text message or an email. So right now, I want you to choose somebody, right, that you are going to share your resolution with, right? So open up your text. You can copy and paste from your notes or retype your text. But right now, again, I know this doesn't happen very often in church. I want you to send a text message during my sermon to the person who you're going to share your resolution with. I'm going to do that too. So now that person who's going to get that text message, it's your responsibility to check in every once in a while, right? See how things are going with that resolution, right? It's the next layer of service, right? You got 2 service resolutions now, right? You got the one you made, and now I just made one for you to serve the person who text messaged you and help them keep up with their resolution. Finally, one more thing. Open up that calendar app on your phone. Open up that calendar app or in your calendar, and right now I want you to make an appointment that just says service resolution. So make an appointment on your phone that says service resolution and pick any day of the week you want. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, whatever day you want, right? Wednesdays, Thursdays, whatever day works for you. And I want you to set an appointment on your calendar that says service resolution, and this might be a little technical savvy for you, but in those appointments, there's a repeat. I want you to repeat it weekly. I want that appointment to be on your phone weekly. So make a service resolution appointment. Set it for any time you want. And then there should be a little thing that says repeat. Click repeat. And you can choose weekly. And now every single Monday, if you picked Monday, you're going to have an appointment to check in on your service resolution. If you've been listening to the sermons that I've been preaching over the last, couple of times, the children's stories that I've been engaging in, I think that you've probably noticed this theme of service. I'm convicted that this concept of service of other people, is what the ministry of Christ was really all about and has a transformational power in our lives. A few sermons back, I talked about collective efficacy. The fact that efficacy is the fact that you believe you can accomplish something. And that collective efficacy, which is a group of people believing that they can accomplish something, is a major lever for change, right? In education, we call it collective teacher efficacy, that all of your teachers believe that they can do something. And when that is high, you can change something. You can make something happen. In that sermon, we called it Oakwood efficacy, Oakwood collective efficacy. And I'm hoping that today is one of the first steps in that. I hope that today, through our service resolution, we can take a step forward in believing that we all, every single one of us, has within our ability, through the grace of God, to make change occur. The change that I think that we can make occur is service for others. Genuine service for other people, for the sake of other people and not the sake of ourselves. Service that isn't bound in the foundation of selfishness, and service that isn't hindered by our indifference and by our laziness. I'm convicted that service is transformational, that it can change the individual, it can transform his or her family, which can then transform their church, which I believe can then transform the world. In closing, I'd like to read from Luke 22. In Luke 22, beginning in verse 24, this is during the Last Supper, and the disciples have begun to argue about who is the greatest, or who might be the greatest in the kingdom of God. And there arose also a dispute among them as to which one of them was regarded as the greatest. And Jesus said to them, "The kings of the Gentiles lord it over them, and those who have authority over them are called benefactors. But it is not this way with you, but the one who is greatest among you must become like the youngest, and the leader like the servant. For who is greater, the one who reclines at the table or the one who serves? Is it not the one who reclines at the table? But I am among you as the one who serves." Let's bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity that you've put before us this upcoming new year, the opportunity to take the love and the grace and the forgiveness that you've given each one of us and to pass that along to others. And the vehicle that you've established for us to be able to do that is in service for other people. That when we see the hungry, we feed them. That when we see the thirsty, we give them water. That when we see those who are sick or in prison, we visit them. That we see when those who are without clothes, that we clothe them. Service isn't just those things. The service that you've given to us, the ability to serve that you've given to us, comes in many forms through the talents and the resources that you provided each one of us. Please give us the initiative, give us the discernment, give us the passion to take those things that you've given us, our talents, your grace, your love, and your forgiveness, and utilize them in the service of others. And we can do that many ways, Lord. You know, we prayed earlier today about those who are sick. We think of Ramon's brother. We think of Modesta's aunt. We think of all these people who are sick at this time. We think of people who are struggling emotionally. We think of people who are struggling financially, right? Help us to not just notice, but to serve. We ask these things in your precious name. Amen.